Yo, have you ever felt some sort of social anxiety? Because I sure of heck have. Guys, it sucks. It's the worst. There's been so many times that I can't even go out with my friends because I don't even want to be in an environment with a lot of people. And for those of you who may not know what social anxiety is, it's a specific type of anxiety that has to do with being afraid to talk, be around, or trust other people. But if you could trust me, let me tell you one thing. Most every single person ever deals with this in their life. Public speaking is known to be the #1 fear for people. Why? Because most people are afraid of being judged or misunderstood, and that goes hand in hand with being socially anxious. Social anxiety can also make you feel like everyone has some how-to book about being social when you don't, which is totally unfair, right? Like I remember back in high school, I would always be so jealous and confused why some of my friends could talk to anyone without even hesitating. But meanwhile, I'm sitting alone with my hood up trying not to make eye contact with anybody or get called on by a teacher. And it's been one of the biggest things I've struggled with even to this day when it comes to certain situations. So I want you to know right now that you're not alone. And in the next section of videos, we're gonna dive deeper into self-confidence and how to feel more comfortable in your own skin. But while I'm on the topic of anxiety, I wanna spend the next few minutes talking specifically about how you can use some of the tips in the last video in these social situations. So if you haven't seen that video that I'm talking about, stop what you're doing right now, go watch it, then come back. But today I'm gonna give you a few examples of situations that can arise from having anxiety about interacting with other people and some tips for getting past that feeling. Because believe it or not, with practice, you can conquer social anxiety and learn to adapt in those situations that you might find super uncomfortable. Like, have you ever thought if you were, I don't know, like in a room, a party, just any place with a lot of people that everybody was looking at you? Guys, this happens to me literally all the time. Like I'll be walking around and I'll trick myself subconsciously into thinking that everybody's judging me, even though that's obviously not the case at all. So here's your first perspective check. Most people are so preoccupied with their own stresses, worries, and anxiety that they aren't standing around just waiting for other people to walk into the room so they can judge them. Like guys, this is actually a psychology term called the spotlight effect. It happens to most people where you just think everybody's looking at you. And most people are dealing with their own anxiety and stress, even though it might not seem like that at all. And let's say there's a few people that aren't. They still wouldn't just take the time to completely drop everything and judge you for no reason. It's all in your head. There's been countless of times where Sam and I will walk into an LA party with a ton of social media kids, and all I can think about is everybody looking at me and judging me by the way I look. When honestly, that's not the case at all, and it's just literally me freaking myself out. I always constantly have to remind myself that it's all in my head and nothing is as extreme as I make it out to be. But here's a really simple tip that can help with that negative mindset. You can easily just create an album in your phone full of pictures of moments where you felt connected or close to somebody, or photos that remind you that you do have the power to make friends and people enjoy your company. Then anytime you're feeling really overwhelmed, stressed out, anxious in a social situation, and that negative voice is convincing you that you don't belong, you can pull up that album and scroll through those photos until those negative thoughts fade. And I always keep these memories in my phone for this exact reason. If I ever think people don't like me or want me around, I can always just pull out my camera roll and remember that I do have people that love me for exactly who I am. And guys, we only fear talking to people because we don't want to mess up in any way, be judged, or be rejected. Like think about all the times people have come up to you in a social setting and they were trying to be nice and said something that you thought was so stupid you decided to never speak to them again. That probably hasn't happened a lot of times, huh? And guys, the simple truth is, it's because we're so much harder on ourselves than other people. Let me repeat this really quick. This is super important. We are our biggest critics. How we view ourselves is completely different how others may see us. Please don't forget that. You just have to constantly remind yourself that you are being too harsh on yourself and that nobody really cares about how you're acting like you might think they are. And I think the main thing people forget is people aren't always so quick to judge. You see, if your intentions are good and you're a nice person when meeting somebody new, most of the conversations you're gonna have would probably be positive experiences that could lead to long-lasting friendships or even relationships, depending on who it is. But let's say the person you're talking to does not want to interact with you or give you the time of day. Well then, that person's a jerk, and why the heck would you want them in your life anyway? Guys, there's nothing to worry about. Just be yourself and don't be afraid. Because again, the people who like you for you are gonna be the ones who matter in the long run. Like who gives a flying flippity crap if people don't like you? They're just gonna forget about that interaction and completely move on. I swear the people that pay you dust and act like they don't care will just forget about the whole interaction in general and it will become a distant memory in their lives. So what I'm trying to say is you really just have nothing to lose if you're being being friendly and trying to fit in. And the same goes with public speaking. Like, tell me the last time you thought about somebody who might have messed up on stage or while giving a speech. You most likely forgot about all of that within an hour because it's not that big of a deal. And that's the same with everybody else. Nobody's gonna think about you messing up or saying something weird as much as you do in your own head. And I wanna tell you one of my favorite quotes by Dr. Seuss of all time. It says, "Be who you are and say what you mean, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind." And that basically just means that the people in your life that are important will stick around, and the people that aren't won't. So don't worry about it. But yeah, just think about that. And also, by the way, Metalife is the perfect place where you don't even have to worry about that judgment at all. There are so many people here that care for you and are willing to hear what you have to say. And like all types of anxiety, if feeling anxious about social situations is interfering about your ability to meet new people, keep relationships, or get things done, then you have to talk to somebody about it. Don't hold it inside. Don't ever be afraid to speak up, because honestly, that can be super lonely and overwhelming. And like I've said numerous times in the past, letting people know how you're feeling about a certain situation is literally the best way you can release that feeling of anxiety. So here's the call to action. I want to know what specific stories your anxious mind is telling you that is keeping you from enjoying your friendships, meeting new people, or feeling like you can't be 100% yourself in social situations. In the past, my mind would always tell me that I would be judged and laughed at forever if I messed up in a social situation, when in reality, that's obviously not the case at all. So write them down and then attach a goal to each of one. Like for example, maybe you wrote, "I'm afraid to be honest with my friend Brandon about how I've been feeling because I'm afraid they'll judge me." And the goal for that situation would be bring up how I've been feeling the next time I'm hanging out with Brandon, because if he's really my friend, he'll be supportive and understand. And also, you can help other people who are dealing with the same things if you want to go above and beyond. Like, try to think about some things you can do that might help other people who are feeling anxious in social situations or who feel like they don't fit in at all. And then write those down and commit to them. Examples of this could literally be as simple as inviting somebody who's sitting alone at lunch to sit with you, or just make an effort to talk to people who are standing by themselves or seem nervous talking to other people. Guys, helping others not only creates connection for them, but it makes us feel more connected. And eventually you're gonna realize that we're all human, we're all in this together, dealing with the same stuff, and it's all in your head. You got this.